That one's deflected and will be a Preston throw this time. Ball comes off Byrne. Pandazopoulos. Two Preston players around her. Still almost found a way to wiggle through. Yamano gets the ball. Now she's got 4 Preston players around her. She continues to drive forward, and that's going to be a yellow card. Dragana, Kajic and Holly Massey are the 2 that's going to go into the book. There's 2 yellow cards. Well, this could be the big moment. For South Melbourne. A set piece. Well, Vlanic has had plenty of opportunities to practice her set pieces in this game. South Melbourne twice last year got stoppage time goals to take points away from Preston as we begin the 4 minutes of extra time that are going to be played. All hands on deck for Preston to defend this. Vlanic's delivery near post. Oh, it's fumbled, but she's able to recover well with Charlotte Rahorison. She might have got a trailing leg at the back of her head. Although she fumbled it, she was pretty quick to get off her line to cut that cross off. And this is just going to add to the stoppage time that we will have in this game. But firstly, we hope Rahorison is okay. It's Kirsten Malloy, the Kiwi. Checks on her new teammate. So, still a few minutes left for either side to get this winner. What has been an excellent contest in Senol NPL Victorian Women's Competition Round 2. Ball left a bit short. Kajic couldn't clear it as well. Pandazopoulos with the turn. Drives it forward. Left foot. Cross the box. And Furukawa just could not get to the end of it. A sizzling ball across the 6-yard box. And just inches away was Nikki Furukawa from getting South Melbourne all 3 points. In Preston's first home game of the season. There's not long left to go in this game. Westland shouts for handball. Ball in towards the box. Furukawa is going to get there. Barbieri on the shot. Rahorison once again denies South Melbourne. Ball up the line, given away. Barbieri. Tired legs in this Preston lineup. Yamano looking to whip the cross in. And once again, it's easy to defend. Now here's Holly Massey. Preston's goal scorer turns into trouble as Alana Byrne fights to get the ball back. Westland picks up the scraps. Furukawa whips it in. Pandazopoulos can't direct the header on goal. As Preston get it clear. Vlanic, Nikolovsky looks to put pressure on. Vlanic will continue her run forward. Crosses it in. Pandazopoulos And KH is there for Preston to get it clear again. Percy can't hold on to the ball, but she does well to get it out for a throw. As the referee looks to calm things down for the moment and gives the opportunity to Georgia Henderson to put her boot back on. As there's a bit of dispute from both benches. It will be a South Melbourne throw. And away we go again. Henderson gets it up the line. Vlanic is quick to get on it. She wants to get on the move. She wants to find a way to see her team get the 3 points here late. Preston get it clear again. And that's all she wrote for this one. Senol NPL Victoria round 2 match between Preston Lions and South Melbourne ends in a 1-1 draw. It was an excellent game. It was quite physical at times. But in the end, the spoils are going to be shared. It was the 36th minute where Holly Massey, with a wonderful team build-up, was able to pass the ball into the bottom corner. And Nikki Furukawa, who was really caused a lot of problems since coming on at half-time, won the penalty, which Misha Westland stepped up, sent the goalkeeper the wrong way to give South Melbourne back level. And that's the way it ended. South Melbourne had plenty of opportunities in this game. Preston Lions defended for their lives, and they were able to get a point. And it's a great point well shared between both sides who start this season undefeated, both with a win and a draw. As both sides share handshakes as the sprinklers turn on. I know if I was one of the players out there, that's definitely where I'd be heading, under one of those big sprinklers. As the crowd starts to continue to build up here as part of this double-header where Preston Lions will host St Albans once again on the Senol NPL Victoria page. My name is Chris Gleeson. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage. It's been an excellent game between two sides that you'd expect to be thereabouts at the pointy end of the season. We hope you enjoy NPL Victoria coverage over the weekend. And for now, goodbye.
Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Geneseo Stadium at BT Connor Reserve for tonight's men's and women's NPL doubleheader. We've just witnessed a highly entertaining game between the Preston women's team and South Melbourne in the NPLW. That game ending in a 1-1 draw. And up next, we have the round 2 men's NPL clash between the Preston Lions and the Senol Saints. It's great to see another fantastic crowd building up this evening. As always, we hope that everyone enjoys all the football action coming your way. We encourage you to be colourful, be loud, be passionate. Let's make it an electrifying atmosphere, but also remember to be respectful and to represent yourselves and your club in the right way. Just some quick reminders, folks, that the main pavilion is open exclusively for our President's Club sponsors, pavilion club members and live members, both pre-game and during the game. And the pavilion will then open up for everybody after the game, so please be sure to come inside for a drink after the final whistle. Also a reminder that all spectators in attendance are required to abide by the Football Victoria Code of Conduct and Behavioural Regulations to ensure that we all enjoy the game in a safe and responsible manner. In particular, crowd behaviour will be monitored by our ground marshals and security personnel who will be roaming the venue throughout the evening, so any foul language, abusive or antisocial behaviour, whether that be towards other spectators, players, officials or referees, will strictly not be tolerated and patrons will be evicted if required. And if you do witness any antisocial behaviour, we encourage you to report it anonymously via text message to 0493 334 810, and for everyone's benefit, that number will also be scrolling along the bottom of the scoreboard throughout the game. There's to be no jumping onto the ground at any time during or after the game by spectators, and the lighting of flares or throwing of any other projectiles is strictly prohibited. Any offenders caught will result in your immediate eviction from the venue with a long-term ban by the club. There's also strictly no smoking or vaping inside or around the grandstand and pavilion areas. For those standing in the grandstand, please ensure you do not stand in any of the aisles or walkways, otherwise you will be asked to move on by our marshals and security personnel. Our bar and canteen staff will ensure that alcohol is served responsibly this evening, and also please remember to put your rubbish in the bins provided at all times. Also, remember you can go and check out our fantastic new club apparel and supporters gear, which is available from the merchandise stand. Together with our merchandise partner Umbro, we've got a great selection of Preston gear available, ranging from players' jerseys, polo shirts, jackets, t-shirts, caps, scarves, badges, and a whole lot more. We do have FOS available at the merchandise stand, so make sure you come over and pick something out for yourself. And finally, remember to keep an eye out for our club mascot, Chips the Lion, who'll be roaming around the ground throughout the night, so make sure you go up and get your photo taken with him. And remember to post them to your socials and tag in Preston Lions FC. Okay, we aren't too far away from both men's teams making their way out onto the ground as we count down to the kickoff. And we'll get back with you very, very shortly.
Okay, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Testing.
Keep going.
Testing.
Happy with the balance?
You're a little quiet.
All right. Which one are you? Check. All right. Go for it again.
Testing.
Better? Check, 1, 2.
Testing.
Yeah, I'll probably be louder because I'm calling play-by-play and his special comments, so...
Sweet. 9 minutes now.
Help us level the playing field. Sign the parliamentary petition today to fuel the growth and fund the game.
Okay, Preston fans, let's see you make a whole lot of noise and welcome both teams out onto the park. Would you give them a massive roar? Let's hear it from the Preston Lions and the Senol Saints.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Jenna Steele Stadium for round 2 Senol NPL Victoria action. It's the Preston Lions in their first home game of the season, taking on St Albans Dynamo. It's been a long time between drinks for St Albans. They haven't beaten Preston since 2010 and lost on both occasions last season. A 2-1 defeat here at Jenna Steele Stadium, a 3-0 defeat at the back end at Churchill Reserve when Preston were on a tear. A positive start for Dynamo, a point against the grand finalists Dandenong City, and plenty more still to come from Cam Watson's side, who have a star recruit in their ranks in Lloyd Isgrove. We'll take you through the starting lineup for the visitors. Between the sticks, number 1, Marco Bulic. The back four of Michael Martinovic, Aaron Anderson, Alec Mills, two familiar names to Preston supporters. The centre-back duo who helped Preston get promoted from VPL 1. Lockie Weir at left-back, a midfield of Atsushi Inoue, Anthony Laban and Jerome Charan, and a front three of Nick Coke, Mikel Platt and Lloyd Isgrove. 3 changes for the Preston Lions after last week's fortuitous 3-1 victory over the Oakley Cannons. It was a late show from Leighton Brooks that won the day. Matt Bozanovsky, who picked up an injury in the first half, drops to the bench. So too to Jonas Markowski and Gian Albano. In comes Dom Felino with Jamal Ali shifting to the centre of defence. Elijah Atakubi comes into midfield, the new recruit. And Zach Chianchi, who made such an impression off the bench, starts on the left. Completing the lineup, Ryan Scott, fresh off a penalty save, Aidan Bryce, Stefan Negro, George Michelides, Sion Cuba, Leighton Brooks and Jason Romero. For St Albans, only 3 changes, and they all come on the bench with the return of Joey Cholina, Josh Golevsky and Emmanuel Peters. Just about ready for kickoff here. Preston Lions in the all red, kicking from right to left, and we are away. St Albans Dynamo in the blue. A massive early test for both these sides. Preston, who flattered to deceive but got a marvellous victory on the road. Dynamo, who drew a blank at home in front of a huge crowd at the Croatian doubleheader last Saturday. We'll be looking to end that scoreless run. My name is Josh Parrish, and it's a delight to be joined in co-commentary for the first time by Matt Sultana. Welcome, Matt.
Thanks, Josh. It's a really exciting fixture here between these two sides. I think both will definitely want to be picking up points in this fixture in their pursuit for finals football. Obviously a good start to the year last week, a good start to the season for Preston Lions last week, and then points at home for St Albans always handy, so really exciting fixture here.
Two sides who like to play football as well. Zoran Markovsky never takes a backward step as a coach, and Cam Watson, in contrast to maybe some Dynamo coaches in the past, likes to keep the ball on the deck. So this big pitch at Jenna Steele Stadium will probably suit both teams.
Yeah, that fight for possession early in this game is going to be crucial to establishing control and seeing who's going to get those early chances.
This is the former Preston man, Aaron Anderson, in possession, playing it out to the right. Now Nick Cook. Early touch for Chianchi. No Damian Bozanovsky in the squad for Preston tonight, of course, after his health scare in the second half against Oakley, but he was in attendance at training earlier this week. It looks like he's on the road to recovery, which is fantastic to see, and we send our best wishes to the Bozanovsky family and his brother Matt as well, who's on the bench today. Matt is someone who's coached Damien. I know you can attest to what a great lad he is, what a talent.
Yeah, very talented football player and a fantastic person and a great character, and like you said, we wish him all the best for a speedy recovery.
There's another man who was under your tutelage last season, George Michelides. Deft touch in midfield. Acquitted himself very well after coming off the bench against Preston and perhaps caught the eye of the Brains Trust here at PT Connor. Romero was flirting with offside there, but he never was involved in the play. Bullich will restart short to Mills. Preston with some early possession. Hatakubi. Canadian spreads the play out to Stefan Negro. Chianchi running in the wrong direction. He maintains possession really well. Under a lot of Dynamo pressure. They'll be keying in on him after his cameo performance in the second half last week that turned the game in so many ways. This is Brooks feeding for Lino. Can't beat the first man in Lockie Weir. It's behind for the game's first corner. It looks like Sion Cuba will be entrusted with the dead ball. But not before referee Yanni Zizis sorts out the to and fro inside the box. Here's Cuba to deliver. Falls at the back post. Mihalides with a wayward shot. That took a deflection on the way through. An early sighter for Preston.
Aidan Bryce just really floating around there unmarked a little bit in that box. He's always a threat on set pieces.
Two arms raised for Cuba. Lofted into the 6-yard box. Bryce was arriving. And now Dynamo a chance to break. Nick Cook has Sharan out on the right. Sends his teammate rather wide into the channel. Still alive for Dynamo. Sharan lays it back to Cook. And then a bit of a lack of imagination with that pass. It's easily picked off by Chianchi. Laban was well positioned. It's Anthony Laban. Martinovic. Inoue. The schemer at the base of midfield. Here's Grove coming deep for a touch. Here's Grove to combine with Platt. Sharan, this is a good move from Dynamo. It's into the first man, but Stefan Negro had his hands planted firmly behind his back. Sharan to the byline to slide. And Atakubi sees it behind for a goal kick.
That earlier transition is going to be crucial for St Albans. Just wonder, Lloyd Isgrove was free on that left-hand side. Definitely the big recruit for St Albans in the off-season for their finals charge. They'll be a little bit disappointed not to get him on the ball in that moment because he can definitely do damage in those situations.
Cam Watson was the man who brought Lloyd Isgrove out to Australia. His first season, he was unstoppable. 15 goals in the league from the wing. Last season, a comparative dip in form by his standards, but looking to recapture his best stuff, the Welshman. Nicely measured ball by Atakubi. Negro up the left. Mihalides getting involved. Soren Markovski relaying a message from the dugout. Good switch of play out to Brooks. Foligno arriving in support. Foligno to cross. And Martinovic is uncontested at the back stick.
Preston definitely established control here early on in this game. Lots of possession, moving the ball from one side to another and being able to find those wingers on this big wide pitch at BT Connor.
Foligno. Brooks. Standing up his fullback. We are recovered at the last. At the cost of a corner. This rivalry, well, this matchup rather, dates back to 1987. Preston leading their head-to-head count, 13 wins to 9, I should say, with 5 draws. Standing it up towards Bryce. And it's headed behind for a Dynamo goal kick. Mills. Nicely measured ball. Isgrove. No way through for Isgrove. This is Weir who stepped in field. Leban. Isgrove shimmies down the left, drills it in low. No way past Jamal Ali at the near stick. Atakubi. Romero holding it up. No way forward for Preston. Mikel Platt in with the challenge, and it seemed to be a fair one. Great use of the body by the Englishman. And he's so strong with his back to goal. Mikel Platt.
He'd probably say he's the strongest in the league back to goal. He's a real menace when he gets into those situations, and Jamal Ali really had his work cut out for him to stop him there.
Moving him off the ball is moving a boulder up a hill. Mikel Platt. And Isgrove put a little too much pepper on that pass. Negro's throw. Finds the gap to return the ball to Mihalidis. That's good work from Negro. And Mihalidis had the eyes up to spot Brooks on the far side. Dom Foligno is on his bike. Brooks slides it in behind for Foligno to the byline. And it's off his former Melbourne City teammate Alec Mills. And Preston have their third corner.
Leighton Brooks causing a lot of problems hanging out on that right-hand side. Every transition he's on, and Preston are doing really well to find him, and he's causing a lot of damage. It's, 3-4 corners now, pretty much off those Leighton Brooks runs.
A lot of air underneath the delivery from Cuba. Bulich came out to punch. Mihalidis hooks it back into the danger zone, but Mills is in the way. Atakubi. Foligno. Pass was on to Cuba there. They find him now. Cuba able to play in more of an advanced role in midfield tonight, with Atakubi coming into the starting lineup. He's playing as one of the double pivot last week, which we haven't seen too often from him. Cianci darting in field. Pass to Foligno was offline. Atakubi trying to thread the eye of the needle. Weir saw it coming. Isgrove back the other way. Dynamo scheming. Finding a way through in Sharan. He's held up well by Aidan Bryce. That's good front foot defending from Preston's new centre half. A bit of a miscommunication there between Romero and Ali. Six new signings in this starting lineup for Preston, so you'd imagine it'll take a little bit of time for these new players to gel, albeit some of them are former teammates at Avondale. But Preston had such a shortened pre-season with the Australian Championship. All the clubs that participated in that competition have had a short turnaround for this NPL campaign.
Yeah, I mean, player turnover is not that uncommon for Preston over the years as they've tried to climb through the ranks from State League 1 back into the top flight. So they're kind of used to having to recruit players each season. Obviously, the shortened pre-season's a harder thing to deal with. And I think for Preston, you can't understate the loss of Luka Tevre and Amir Abdullah as well from this side late on in the transfer window. That team was looking very formidable with those two in it as is. But like you mentioned, those players have come across from Avondale where they've played together before. So at least they have that connection with each other, which you can see quite early on that it's there.
This is Anderson. Martinovic. Aaron Anderson named captain in his first season at St Albans. Nick Cook. Martinovic. Headed away by Atakubi. Good poise and balance from Michailidis. Atakubi under the pump from Platt. He moves it on quickly. Ali finds Foligno. Preston with a bit of space to attack now. Can Foligno pick out the right option? He's forced to go back to Cuba. Preston get well up the pitch here though. Risky ball. It's Mikael Platt. He's doubling back as an extra defender. Still, it's Preston's possession. And Lockie Weir had a little nibble at the ankles of Jason Romero.
Atakubi, a very composed player on the ball, likes to get lots of touches, likes to play the game at a certain tempo, and is very influential early on here.
Cuba. Cook. With two for company. Nick Cook did well. Leban. The early ball is on for Isgrove. Foligno's header. It was rather betwixt and between. Still Lloyd Isgrove with an outlandish try on the spin. Spotting Ryan Scott off his line. That was a big ask even for the Welsh Wizard.
Yeah, it would have been another special goal if you pulled that one off.
Preston going out quickly in transition. Romero threading it through for Brooks. As Brooks got support in the middle. Not arriving quickly enough.
Great ball from Romero there through to Brooks, but as Brooks got his head up, there was just no one in the box to cross it into. He had to hold and wait, and then by then St Albans had collapsed back in and were able to protect the box quite easily there.
Been a couple of occasions where Zach Cianci maybe has had opportunities to barrel into the back post.
Yeah, he just seems to be waiting a little bit. Probably just needs to anticipate that ball's going to get in behind to Brooks and make that darting run quickly in behind those centre-backs to try and get ahead and at least get on the end of something, because right now they're getting in behind, but they're in again here.
Preston with another chance to cross. Romero is in there. It drops for Cianci. Still Zach Cianci. Romero, what a save. Marko Bulic at full stretch. And Preston are denied.
That ball fell to Romero and you thought it was going to be 1-0, but Marko Bulic, as he's done so many times for St Albans over the last couple of seasons, pulls off a massive save there to keep this game 0-0.
So Romero picked the wrong side there.
Oh, he just felt like he could have gone across the keeper, don't you?
Here underneath the cross from Cuba. And Aiden Bryce heads wide again.
It's almost like Romero had too much time to think about it.
What a chance.
But as we highlighted, it started with Cianci actually getting into the box there. He got in there, although the ball didn't go directly to him, but that poor little clearance from St Albans, he gets the beneficiary of it and then plays it off to Romero, and yeah, probably should be 1-0 here.
Preston had delivered 3 or 4 crosses from the right, and the one time that Cianci has gambled to get in that spot, it's fallen to him. So close to a scrappy Preston goal. Cook. Let's come back off the former Western United junior. Dynamo still coming back to full strength, I should say.
Cholina, Galevsky and Peters back on the bench this week. Manuel Peters obviously did that terrible injury last year. I believe it was an Achilles, kept him out for a long, long time, but it's one of those live wire wingers that can be a game changer. See if Cam Watson turns to him in the second half.
Yeah, it's impressive now with St Albans that they've actually got some really good squad depth coming through, which I think will help them with that finals push. And it can't be understated. Obviously, Churchill Reserve is available to play on from the start as well, so that will help them. Last season, obviously having to play so many games on the road at the start.
Negro looking for Chianchi. Anderson across to cover. Well, he would have been all over the scouting report after last week. I think Zach Chianchi will find himself with a bit more defensive attention. Completely tore Oakley asunder in that last 15-minute spell after the resumption. So exciting to watch. Still only 21 years of age. Negro earns a throw.
Good mix of youth and experience that Preston have put together this season. I think that will help them, given that they had the Australian Championship as well. And this will feel like a long year for them in NPL with the 26 games and the short pre-season. So I think having a bit of youth in their squad will help them in the long run. And, you know, hopefully that will help them, especially when they get to the final series where there will be some heavier bodies, especially for teams like Heidelberg, Preston, the teams that played in the Championship, South Melbourne.
Cuba with his eyes up, looking for an option. Also helps them field a nice strong squad despite the new restrictions from Football Australia with minimum under 23s and an under 20 as well. The fact that George Mihalidis can start in midfield at 19 years old, massive benefit rather than having to elevate a player just to sit on the bench from the under 23s. It's not necessarily going to play many minutes.
Yeah, so I think that new rule will see some good young players hopefully get some opportunities at this level as well. So I think that's a really good initiative. It's obviously a challenge, obviously, in the early days for the clubs to figure out how to manage that and how to balance their squads, but I think they're used to that with the point system anyway.
Romero. Certainly a lot easier to understand than the player point system, which is a benefit, at least for the viewers at home.
Yeah, we won't try and explain the player point system to the viewers. Complex would be one word.
Yeah, happy to see the back of that one, I have to say. Felino up for the header. Off the chest of Cuba. Advantage paid by Yanni Zizis. I wonder whether Preston would have preferred the free kick. Mihalidis will take it on here. Chianchi. Bryce. Cuba. Poor first touch. Gives it away to Isgrove. Leban. Oh, Atakubi flying in with a late challenge. And he could be in trouble here.
That fight for possession we spoke about earlier in the game, definitely Preston have been on top. I think crucial for St Albans, if they want to kind of get on top of this contest, is that midfield three needs to influence this game a little bit more. They're really just going long now, and they're losing a lot of the second balls and struggling to get up the park. So they need to establish some more control, get back into possession and look to build and push Preston back a little bit, because it's a bit too comfortable for Preston right now if you're St Albans.
Atakubi escapes without a booking there. That's the last warning from Yanni Zizis. Right, St Albans have really lost their foothold they had in the early going. Just haven't had a lot of the ball. Negro. Chianchi with space to attack. Carrying it infield. Laid off to Mihalidis. Michaelides tries that switch out to Brooks again. Bulich outside his box, has to use his head. Here's Grove, throws a step over, and sends it in behind. Ryan Scott is all over that one.
Quiet night for Ryan Scott so far, comparative to last week against Oakley Cannons.
I think he's pretty upset with his debut for Preston, which was away to Oakley in that behind closed doors match. He's eager to make amends, albeit they did beat Oakley in the elimination final there. Certainly that the early going in that fixture had strange echoes of the 4-0, but Ryan Scott said no, not today. That penalty save from Joe Guest is basically the difference between victory and defeat for Preston, and you look at the momentum of that match. Atakubi. Chianchi. Carries it past the first challenge. Maintains possession. He wanted a free kick. Michaelides directing traffic.
Keon Cooper just struggling to find the ball between the lines here. The Preston going around St Albans block a lot. I think if they can get Keon Cooper on the ball a little bit more between the lines, they'll be able to do a little bit more damage as they progress up the park.
They found him in the channel this time. Cuba, Romero. Negro arriving late. Romero will take it on himself. And then Chianchi has his first goal for Preston. And it didn't take long at all. The new young starlet lighting up Senol NPL Victoria. And the Preston Lions lead in front of their home faithful.
Great finish there from Chianchi. Keon Cooper 2 weeks in a row unlocking opposition defences. I wonder if that's going to be a theme of this season, but really good movement from Cooper to get into that channel. They found him. Little 1-2 with Romero, finds Chianchi, and 1-0 Preston. Really good start to this game from Preston, and they're definitely on top in this fixture now.
Well, you were just saying if they can find Cuba, it could be the way through, and lo and behold, maybe they were eavesdropping on you.
I think they can hear me from up here.
Well, the Preston analysts are just over to our right, so they're all wired in. Well, after such an impression on debut, it's only fitting that Chianchi has a goal to celebrate. And his burgeoning career going from strength to strength. Outstanding with FC Bulleen Lions last season, earning a move to Avondale for the Australian Championship. Dazzling as an impact substitute in that competition, and now putting away goals at the Northern Motor Group end at Jenna Steele Stadium.
I think it just highlights the benefit of the championship and more football over the summer for these young players. It just gives them so much opportunity to continue their development and step up again when the winter comes and the NPL season starts again.
Michaelides. Atakubi. Negro. St Albans pressing with a little bit more intensity now. They need a reaction after that goal, perhaps forcing an error, like Oakley did so often at Jack Edwards Reserve last week, is the way back. And again, it is a much bigger pitch here.
Yeah, it's always a dangerous game, high pressing at BT Connor.
And it's threaded through by Negro for Cuba. Could Cuba go himself here? He cuts in fields, and the angle never arrived. Was that a trip there? He went down theatrically. Attack still on for Preston. Maybe a bit of indecision from Cuba there. Could have squared it for a teammate.
Yeah, St Albans got to be careful with this high press. This pitch is really big, and it's very easy to find yourself chasing balls in behind like they did just then with Cuba. So I think they just got to control here. Just regain a little bit of momentum. Try and establish control if they can win the ball back. Don't try anything too rash.
Scott. Good distribution from the captain.
Foligno galloping forward. Preston with numbers in support here. It's Brooks for Cuba. Cuba thought about the shot. Foligno's cross with his left. Romero won't fall for the American. Instead, it's Brooks. Brooks to hang it up. Martinovic got the faintest of touches on it with his head. Negro to the back post. Romero couldn't meet it. And then Leighton Brooks falls afoul of the offside flag.
That's 3-4 times now Jason Romero has pretty much received the ball in St Albans box with no pressure around him at all, and he's just been able to turn and swivel. They definitely need to address that at some point, because you just feel if they continue to allow that happen, he's going to find the back of the net.
The marking just hasn't been tight enough in the penalty area. Milko Bulic being ordered to take the indirect free kick from the correct position. And we're back underway. Bryce attacking the high ball and gets a free header on it. Martinovic under the pump. He was very good last week against Dandy City, Martinovic. Game that had everything but a goal. I think Lloyd Isgrove and Anthony Leban in particular will be ruining their missed first half chances. Dandy City had a few openings of their own in the second half. It was chested down for Mihalidis by Romero. Now Chianchi goes to work again. Two arriving in blue shirts. Atakubi. Ali. Ali. A lovely pass out to Brooks. Brooks sends it across the box. Oh, what a miss! Jason Romero with the goal at his mercy. And it should have been 2-0 Preston.
Great ball from Jamal Ali in behind to Leighton Brooks, who gets his head up, sees Romero making the run into the box. Great cross, and that should have been 2-0. He's got to take that chance. But Preston are definitely on top in this contest and look like they're going to push for that second. But geez, Jason Romero, he won't be wanting to watch that one again. Did feel like it took a bobble, though, in that box on the way through to give him a little bit of a lifeline out there. It looked like it bobbled up on him and just affected his final action.
Well, certainly his reaction suggested he couldn't believe he'd missed the target. Bobble or otherwise. Atakubi. Negro. Nutmegs Nick Cook there. Somehow Preston get out of trouble. It's a warm night in Reservoir. Atakubi. Brooks. That looked like a rehearsed routine down the right, that little triangle. He finds Foligno with the throw instead. Now Romero. Desperate for a goal. Atakubi. Preston encircling the Dynamo penalty area. It's Cuba to drill it across. Chianchi might fancy a second here. Chianchi onto his left. Kept his feet there. Probably not enough contact to go down.
It's early signs, but when Preston are in the groove, they look like they're going to be a team they're going to be really exciting to watch this season, especially that midfield three. They're really on top of St Albans here.
Brooks. Romero. Back to Leighton Brooks, the match winner last week. Drills in the cross. And it's nervy moments in the Dynamo penalty area as Aaron Anderson clears the danger. How many times have Preston put it
Sort of within 12 yards of the Dynamo goal, just begging for a final finish to be applied.
It's something that last season with St Albans, it was very hard, was to create chances against them. And early in this game, Leighton Brooks has had a field day on that right-hand side, putting in so many crosses in dangerous areas. And St Albans have really struggled to deal with it and get on top of it.
Hadakubi. Romero's layoff. Felino. Preston are in their flow at the moment. It's Brooks. It's just a little too much on the reverse. You can see on Cuba there, but it's the right idea.
Another goal kick for St Albans. This is where they've really struggled. Preston Lions pressing them really high up the park. They really need to be able to find Mikel Platt if they want to progress up the field and use his strength back to goal to hold up the ball and bring other players in the game.
They work it out to Lockie Weir this time. Brooks went to press the second centre half. Not sure why Lockie Weir decided to play that one backwards. They were already through the first line, and instead it's back to where they started.
They just don't have enough numbers forward, St Albans. There's so many players dropping so low behind the Preston block that every time they do break a line of pressure, there's no one to play it to forward.
Almost got Lloyd Isgrove joining a back three there.
I think that's a bit of frustration from Isgrove. Hasn't seen a lot of the ball in this first half.
Martinovic only has one to aim for. Felino will sweep up. Preston playing with fire in their own box. Isgrove. Shot down, and Mihilidis regains possession and vaults the challenge of Leban. Cuba spots the space for Cianci. Cianci throws a step over or two. Clips it into the box. Romero to meet it, and still he can't hit the target.
Great cross on his left foot, Cianci there. It's Stefan Negro bobbing on as well as supporting.
It looks like that took a touch on the way through. That's going to be a Preston corner. Their fifth of the game, would you believe? We're only 34 minutes in. Aside from a few early showings from Dynamo, it has been Preston dominance the whole way. Not sure that's quite on the arc from Cuba. Into the 6-yard box. Bullitt opts to palm it away as far as Mihilidis. Well done by Isgrove. He's got no one to support him on the counter. And a tactical foul from Aidan Bryce.
I think Cuba got about 2 extra metres there on that corner.
It does slope down a little bit towards that left-hand corner, which is a frustration for some of the takers at times. I remember Jonathan Gumano when he was at Preston briefly, now Avondale coach, taking one, I reckon 3 metres off the mark, which Preston scored from. Caused quite the scandal. It's a few years ago now. Martinovic. Hadakubi picked it off. Cuba. And referee Yanni Zizis reaches for his whistle. As Jerome Sharan can only bring Zach Cianci down. And he's gotten through a power running in this first half.
A bit of an inquiry from Aidan Bryce there as to why there's no cards being distributed. But Preston will enjoy this. It gives them an opportunity to just slow the game down and establish more control.
Cianci looked like he needed a breather. He was coming back from injury. A knock sustained in the Masso Cup, which is why he didn't start against Oakley last week. Doesn't look like he's reaching for anything in particular, though.
The right hand is heavily taped, though.
And might be a stylistic choice. Brooks. Had a Kubi down behind play. Leber. We're back to Mills.
Just can't find a way through this Preston blocks and Albans.
Anderson looks for the hopeful long ball to Platt.
It's just almost too much movement from the St Albans front line. Like, they're moving a lot, trying to rotate and find spaces, but as they're doing it, there's no one for the player on the ball to play to.
Sometimes you've got to stand your ground. Kubi. Mihalides splits two teammates. Cam Watson with some stern words for Alec Mills.
Yeah, not happy with how his back line is just kind of sitting and not pushing the line up when the front line's trying to press.
Chauncey caught some late contact. Bryce. Beautiful take from Cuba. Foligno waiting for the optimal moment to release. Instead he goes inside to Cuba, who's around Leban. Cuba tried to do too much perhaps, but it's fallen kindly for Mihalides. And now Bulich has to put his foot through it.
Such an exciting player, Keon Cuba, and I still think we're going to see even more of him and more of his quality as the years come, as he continues to, I think, really make an impact in this league.
27 now, so centering his prime years. He's a marvellously skillful player. Really dynamite on the ball. Showed as much since he came down for Victoria with that Altona Magic side, coached by John Markovski, which upset the apple cart to make it to finals football.
Yeah, I remember watching videos of him 10 years ago, back when he was in Queensland, and you kind of just knew that one of these Victorian clubs was going to pick him up, and when he did, he was going to be a bit of a revelation in this league.
Was very briefly announced as a South Melbourne player. They somehow let him slip through their fingers and went to Avondale instead.
Yeah, I think it was that 2020 COVID-impacted season where South Melbourne were almost assembling a super team, and then obviously the season really never kind of kicked off, and the team kind of dispersed from there onwards.
Back then, Preston were assembling an NPL3 super team.
Yeah, it's incredible to think that, isn't it?
Come a long way in a short space of time, Preston, especially when you consider the 2 years that promotion wasn't on offer. And now Zoran Markovski is passed the baton by Louis Etsevsky to take this side to the very top.
So much excitement Preston, I think, have delivered since they've come back into the top flight, and it's exciting to think that they can still deliver even more as their pursuit probably for another Victorian Championship continues.
Mihalides. Oh, good footwork there from Jamal Ali. One of the headline recruits in the off-season after defecting from Heidelberg. Foligno. Hooks with the layoff. Was he taken out off the ball there? The fans certainly thought so. Little body check from Weir, perhaps.
It's the only way Weir's been able to stop him all night, really, is to put him on the ground.
Cops a bit of stick from the Preston faithful in the grandstand after failing to keep that one in play. Not that it was his fault. For any excuse to reinforce the point. Jamal Ali. A sticky situation here for Bryce. He's got to measure his pass carefully. Well, that's fantastic from Bryce. Felino. Oh, Negro, I should say.
Yeah, and that action from Bryce is why he's one of the best centre-backs in the league. You know, so composed in those moments. You put him under pressure and he just doesn't feel it.
Senol Cuba as well knew exactly what to expect from his former Avondale teammate. Preston has still got a couple of midfield options to come back in as well, with Oli Kubalay and Emil Payos still recovering from knocks. This is Cuba. Oh, Sharan, sorry. Cook. Back to Jerome Sharan. Inoue. Leban. Martinovic. Low ball sent away by Bryce. Sustained possession for St Albans. Now here comes Isgrove. Fleet of foot as he comes inside. Martinovic. Isgrove.
Isgrove seems determined to get a shot on target before half time.
He's now perched at the back stick. Inoue.
This is better from St Albans.
Much more confident ball movement. They've released Isgrove down the right. Drills in a very difficult cross to deal with. Aiden Bryce is equal to it. And Preston need to batten down the hatches here. They may have dominated this half, but they've still only scored one goal.
So those dreaded last couple of minutes for half time where either the team that you're on top, you're dominating the game, and then the opposition starts to come alive right before half time, and you don't want to start thinking of the unthinkable.
Of course, Preston were in the reverse position last week. Completely on the ropes against Oakley, and Senol Cuba scored an unlikely equaliser before the break to bring them back to life. It's a busy 6-yard box. St Albans Dynamo. Pile bodies in on Ryan Scott. 1 minute up on the fourth official's board to end the half. In swinger with the left. Away by Bryce. Isgrove to strike from range. Hanakubi blocked it. First line of defence there. This is Cuba going the other way. Shimmies in field. Clips the ball over the top. Martinovic saw it coming. Bryce. Negro. He's brought down by Weir. He was a long way from home.
I think St Albans have found their way to stop the Preston wingers and just put Weir to take them out.
Ended up at right back in the transition from the corner. That's the last action of this first half. That's seen Preston flex their muscle. A squad with huge ambitions in this competition. And in truth, they should be ahead by more than just the solitary goal. Zach Cianci, the player to find the target. But Jason Romero from point-blank range really should have made it too. St Albans, with signs of life before the break, unable to find a level up. Matt, your closing thoughts on this first half?
Comfortable from Preston. They should be a couple goals up. I think for St Albans, they'll be happy that it's only 1-0 and they have an opportunity to adjust things at half-time and give it another crack in the second half. But all Preston in the first half and definitely deserve to be more than 1-0 up.
The players will take a break and so will we.
Senol NPL Victoria round 2. The halftime score at Jenner Steel Stadium is Preston Lions 1, St Albans Dynamo 0.
Half-time, ladies and gentlemen, the score is currently Preston Lions 1, St Albans 0. And as we enter the half-time break, this briefing looking ahead to next week's fixtures. Both our women's and men's teams. Our women's team travel away to the reigning champions Boxing United, which is next Friday night, the 27th of February, with the seniors game kicking off there at 7:30 p.m. Whilst our men's team also travel away to Casey's Fields in Cranbourne. It's next Sunday, the 1st of March, where they take on Melbourne City. The kick-off of that game at 3 p.m. So in the following week, we have another 2 home games with our women's team taking on the Booranara Eagles. That's on the Friday night, Friday the 6th of March. We'll kick off at 8:30 p.m. And then 2 days later, on the Sunday, we have one of the biggest home games of the season. And we're back here at Preston Stadium on Sunday, the 8th of March, for the big clash against Heidelberg United. We're back here kicking off at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And that will be a triple header with our men's under-20s, under-23s and seniors all playing back-to-back games. So a huge couple of weeks coming up for both teams. We want to see you there cheering them on as our top game, getting behind the players. Also, just some progress scores from around the ground in the men's NPL. Of course, yesterday evening, the game between South Melbourne and Hume City was Hume City 2 defeated South Melbourne 1. And currently in progress, it is Green Gully 0, Caroline Springs George Cross 2. That game nearly approaching full time there. Dandenong City 2 versus Melbourne City 3. That game is on the 80th minute at the moment. And half-time scores between Oakley Cannons and Altona Magic is Oakley 1, Altona Magic 1. And the other remaining game, also a half-time score there, Bentley Greens 2 versus Avondale 0. Now the second half action won't be too far away, ladies and gentlemen. Go and grab yourself something to eat and drink from the canteen. We'll be back shortly with the second half action.
And we're away for the second half at Jenna Steele Stadium. As Preston Lions lead by a goal to nil. And St Albans Dynamo have rung the changes at half-time as they come forward straight from kickoff. Stefan Negro sweeping up for Preston. Nick Cook. Getting it back. Leban. Little lob. And Negro puts it into touch. So there's substitutions for you. Joey Cholina and Josh Golevsky on. Atsushi Inoue and Jerome Charan off. Josh Parrish here alongside Matt Sultana. Matt, what do you make of those changes?
Needed for St Albans. If they want to get into this game, they need to keep the ball and establish possession and push Preston back. They weren't going to do that without those two changes, and they've definitely come out early in this second half, and they look like a team that's not only made two changes, but copped a bit of a berating in the sheds.
I think we could almost hear the hairdryer from up here. Cam Watson was not best pleased with his side's performance in the first half, and with reason. They were below par. Preston perhaps didn't put them to bed as they could have. In particular, Jason Romero will be ruining one particular point-blank range miss that should have made it 2-0. Amongst a plethora of half chances. Weir. To Alec Mills. Cholina had a really strong season last year. Really came into his own.
Key difference, I think, in the first half, especially on this side here with Weir versus Brooks, is you see how Brooks is kind of getting back, defending, doubling up, helping whenever Isgrove gets on the ball. That definitely wasn't the case for Weir. He definitely wasn't getting that support from Isgrove defensively, and he was really isolated 1v1. So that's definitely a matchup to watch in this second half.
Golevsky. Golevsky scored 6 goals for Dynamo last season. One of a few players to be on that total. No one broke double digits. The top scorer, Lucas Burns, has gone to Caroline Springs George Cross. He only had 7. Atakubi. Lovely weight on that pass from the Canadian. Here goes Brooks. Drilled in low. Cuba couldn't set his feet. Well, he didn't quite seem to know if he was taking it on his left foot or his right.
He was caught off guard by the cross from Brooks. It was really well placed, good speed, and it was nice and early. This matchup here, Brooks v Weir, is not looking good for St Albans. I wonder if that's going to be a change at some point. Looks like a total mismatch.
And Brooks has put a lot of fullbacks on toast in his time in the NPL with Preston. Scored a lot of goals last season, especially in the early rounds. He started with 4 in 5. Likes to stay high and wide and look to get in behind. Arnie Zizis waves play on. As George Michaelides lays crumpled in a heap. Back on his feet now, though. Cholina. Good ball to find Martinovic. Gets to the byline, but can't keep his cross within the bounds of the pitch. Cuba well found by Bryce. Brooks gets around Weir. Leighton Brooks, electric run. And then the skywards header from Mills is easy pickings for his goalkeeper. You could hear Zoran Markovsky screaming, "Back yourself," every time the wingers get in a 1v1 situation. He wants them to turn on the style.
Yeah, Bryce did a great job splitting through the St Albans block to find Cuba. those passes that we've seen so many times over the years, and then they're isolating Brooks 1v1 down on this side here, and he's having a field day here, and he's been egged on by Zoran Markovski to just go at him.
He's going to have Zoran Markovski's mellifluous tones in his ear the entire half. Oh, great ball from Mills. We are back to retrieve it. Leber. Josh Golevsky starting a lot deeper than Jerome Sharan was in the first half.
He's trying to drop in, get on the ball and help them progress up the park, which they've done a lot better coming out of the second half, but that problem of connecting with the front line is still present. They're just unable to find a player in that last line to break down that Preston block and create a chance forward.
I'm surprised they haven't tried to just zip the ball into the feet of Mikael Platt more often, considering he's such a magnet for it.
And something they did so well last year as well.
I found him this time. He played 2 visionary through balls against Dandy City last week. Didn't make too much of an impact in the opposition box, but did set up one of their best chances. And he put Lloyd Isgrove through for that big opportunity in the first half. Surprisingly good passing range for a target man his size.
And very versatile as well. He floats into these wide areas and he does a lot of damage there as well. Very versatile attacking player. Not that common for like you said, a player of that size.
Don't know if you heard me straining to avoid the phrase "good touch for a big man." Sometimes it's true.
Much more controlled from St Albans. They're trying to slow down the tempo and really frustrate Preston and starve them of possession. Well, that's not going to help though.
Henderson. Gianchi brought down cynically by Platts. And the crowd are baying for a booking. Yanni Zizis seems intent on minimal paperwork this evening. Him keeping his cards in his pocket. Probably challenges in the first half that merited a yellow ticket from both sides. Certainly been consistent.
You can't argue with that. Definitely very consistent across the game. No cards being dished out. Just really clattered into him there, Mikael Platt, didn't he?
There's a clumsy one from the Englishman. Anakubi to take the free kick. He's had an interesting journey. Very early days in the Manchester City Academy before moving as a child to Canada. And his brother plays for the Canadian national team.
Yeah, something you could overlook 15 years ago, but I think today any player coming out of North America is someone you've got to keep an eye on because their development system has really taken off over the years, and Man City on your CV is not bad either.
This is Romero cutting inside Mills, laying it off for Cuba! Preston finally have their second. Sian Cuba rolls it home for his second goal in as many games in a Preston Lions jersey. He is on fire. And Jenna Steele Stadium comes to life.
He's done it again. Third time in a row now where either side of a first half he's able to pick up the ball in that pocket of space and turn and find the back of the net. He's been so influential in these opening 2 games for Preston, and Preston double their lead. St Albans were doing well to try and get in control, but that just shows how deadly this Preston team can be. You switch off for 1 second and they'll punish you.
Really well created goal. What about the selfless layoff from Jason Romero, who might have been entitled to take the strike on himself?
Yeah, really good from Romero, but again, he was picking up that ball completely unmanned in the box like he was in the first half.
Dynamo's defending in their own final third has left a lot to be desired. Just the looseness of the marking.
I think for a team that wants to play finals football this season, it's something they're going to have to address, because if you're going to be that loose in the back, you're not going to be able to get points and get results against teams like Preston Lions, which you'll need to do if you want to play finals football throughout the year.
Leban. Here's Grove. Banging bodies with Felino and then choosing his moment to hit the deck. Quickly taken free kick. Savvy stuff from the Welshman. Mikael Platt couldn't keep it. Really well won by Ali, who's gone on a little adventure there.
Thought he was playing right back for a second.
Well, already developing a bit of chemistry there with Atakubi, who was immediately covering him in the centre of defence. I'm told Atakubi can play as an undersized centre-back as well.
You can definitely see it. He's very technical on the ball. He's very comfortable with the play in front of him. So, if needed, they could deploy that throughout the year.
I think even if Jamal Ali is playing centre-half, he should feel free, if he spots an opening, to have a little run forward. Scored 8 goals last season for Heidelberg from right back.
Yeah, really great output last season from Jamal Ali at Heidelberg, and crucial to their Australia Cup run, their NPL Victoria run, and every other run they win on throughout the year, throughout 2025. So big pickup for Preston Lions, and his versatility to play at centre back can't be understated, because throughout the year that's going to help them as well.
Bit of a set two in the middle of the park involving Atakubi and Cholina. Preston preparing a double change from the looks of things. Stefan Zinni is stripped off and ready to go for his Preston debut. And Naoki Suto, who came off the bench last week, is ready to make another cameo appearance. Isgrove. Weir whipped in. It was nice shape on that cross. Preston defend it well. Brooks. Romero with Mills on his back. A little nutmeg on Leban. And still going, Romero. Threads it through for Chianchi, whose first touch let him down. Chianchi chasing back to apply the pressure on Galevsky. That's fantastic to see from the young player.
Opportunity there for him to take a second goal and put Preston 3-0 up, as you'd imagine he's probably going to be the one that might come off in this substitution change.
He's looking a little tired. I think he's a little underdone coming into the season with that injury. Not ruled fit to start last week. Probably on a minute's restriction, I suspect. Build him up from 45 to 60, maybe 90 next week.
The way he's playing, you'd imagine he's going to be in the starting lineup again next week, because he's been really good in this game.
Weir. Here's Grove. Bryce barreling in. Cholina. Brooks tracking back to intercept. And of course, he spots Gianchi on the far side. The substitute still waiting patiently for an opportunity. Mihalidis. Romero on his bike. This is Jason Romero again. That was Negro. It's behind for a corner. Well, Stefan Negro started every game last season, but he's yet to score for Preston. He would love a goal. Maybe playing on the left-hand side, cutting in. He's got more of an opportunity to shoot this season.
Yeah, Stefan Negro, Mr. Versatility at almost everywhere he's gone and everywhere he's been, but good pickup and always reliable, always going to get good minutes out of him every season.
He went on a streak of almost playing 90 minutes in every game this last season, rather. Corner comes in. Bit of head tennis inside the box as Romero takes control now. Atakubi. Chianchi on the spin is collected by Lebar. He's so good at drawing free kicks. Just too quick for his opposite numbers.
It's that tall physique that he's got. He's a very tall, slender winger and definitely likes to draw the foul and gets the attention, and looks like he'll probably come off here now.
It's the last action for Chianchi. As we suspected, his number is up. And Atakubi is going to come off as well. He'll wander off on the far side and gets a warm reception from the home crowd, the Canadian. Acquitted himself very nicely on home debut. Stefan Zini and Naoki Suto. Zini on for his Preston debut, but of course Zini a very famous name at this ground. In the NSL era gone by. His father Andrew represented the club with distinction. A similarly electric winger in his playing days. Let's see if it's like father, like son at BT Connor. Romero, not far away. Almost picked out Atakubi as he walks off on the far side.
Looked like he had a bullet beat there, but just a little bit too wide.
And more changes afoot. Monik coming on for NPL Victoria appearance number 151. The milestone game last week. He's on to replace Nick Cook.
Yeah, Monik will look to make an impact as he comes on. I think St Albans have missed him today. I'm not sure if he's had some injuries or he hasn't been quite ready to play, but he was dangerous last season for St Albans and just haven't had a lot of success on that right-hand side tonight.
Negro. Got a foot in, but it's fallen kindly for Dinamo as Golevsky comes away with possession, and suddenly there are blue shirts flooding forwards. Isgrove back to Golevsky to strike. The deflection off Foligno. And it's safely ensconced in the arms of Ryan Scott.
Probably the best move of the night for St Albans, and the first save, I think, for Ryan Scott tonight, which is saying something given we've played 60 plus minutes.
It's a save. I don't think it's a shot on target, though. Looked like it was heading wide until the touch off Foligno. Suto. Well marshalled by Milks. Cholina to Golevsky.
It's going to be tough for St Albans if Suto is going to be making forward runs as well to deal with him and Keon Cooper at the same time.
A little bit more attacking space for Dinamo now that Atakubi's off the pitch. So more attacking look to that Preston midfield three. Mihalidis. Spread wide for Brooks. Oh, lovely ball from Brooks. It missed everybody. Zini collects on the far side. Negro. Cuba.
Preston definitely not interested in seeing this one out. They want more goals.
This crowd wants more. But maybe, just maybe, Dinamo will have an opportunity on the break. Foligno. Taking his time on the ball here, Foligno. He eventually goes wide to Brooks. Suto. Getting it back off Romero. Brooks. Well worked. Not really to aim for in the middle. Preston trying to pick apart Dinamo with numbers around the ball, but Here's Grover's back to win it. Taking matters into his own hands. It's Leban, Galevsky, and now they get out in transition. Not a lot ahead of Martinovic, though. It's going to be Manny Peters. He's removing the jewellery, and he's ready to make his entrance, his return to football. Galevsky, nice shape on the cross. It's flicked goalwards by Leban, but well off target. And here's that change, and it's going to be Mikael Platt who's coming off. Hasn't had too much of the ball in this second half, Mikael Platt.
Yeah, it's been a tough game for him. St Albans have struggled to get him into the contest, probably because they haven't been able to keep the ball that much, and he just hasn't able to have an influence. But keeping in mind, he is up against Bryce and Jamala, two of the best defenders in the league.
It's a tough old task for a lone striker. But Peters will offer a very different outlet, maybe given the state of the game at present.
Yeah, you'd imagine on transition he'll be able to turn around the Preston back four, so a little bit of speed in behind. That might change things up a little bit for St Albans.
Suto. Collected by Joey Cholina. Bryce. Lovely pass to find Mihalides. Let's see what he was looking for there. Too easy for Martinovic, though. And it looks like there's going to be a change up top as Jonas Markovski gets himself limber. Martinovic. Galevsky. There was an opening there for a moment. Couldn't find Joey Monek.
We're going to count that as a shot on target.
I think it's more of a trickling heavy touch.
More attacking subs for Preston. They're really not going to settle for 2-0. They want more.
I suspect this might be a straight swap, but we'll see. Yep. Jason Romero off. Jonas Markovski to replace him. And I'm not sure whether it's 2026 or the late 1980s, but we have a Ziddy and a Markovski on the pitch for Preston.
Yeah, I'm not sure 10 years ago if you were to tell people that would be the case here at BT Connor, they would believe you, especially if it was in the top flight of Victorian football.
Bit of NSL nostalgia on a Friday night in Senol NPL Victoria. A couple of father-son draft selections for Preston. Though given how many clubs both of those players played for in their time, probably half the league would be eligible for that.
Yeah, you'd imagine so.
Cuba, Markovski, Suto, straight into the action is Markovski. And here's Brooks looking for him. It's Mihalides who fluffs his lines. Another golden chance for the Lions to bury this game.
He's had a really good game, Mihalides, and that would have just topped it off there if he could have got that goal. But I tell you what, Suter looks like some player in the midfield. Not many players come to NPL Victoria with cashmere antlers on their CV. He's really looked solid since coming on, really creative, good in the pockets. Like I said, him and Kuba now to defend is going to be very difficult.
I was hearing comparisons to Suku Sakia, and that's high praise. If anyone had the privilege of witnessing him play for Apia or Avondale over the years.
Yeah, he was a joy to watch for Apia, and his season at Avondale was really good as well.
Cruelly cut short by COVID this time in Victoria, but I was wistfully watching him bang in ridiculous goals in Queensland after that. It's a low cross for Suto, who met it first time and sent it into the crowd.
The heat map on the right-hand side for Preston's going to be solid red at the end of the game. I feel like all their chances have come down this right-hand side. whether it's Foligno, Brooks, doesn't really matter. They're always finding opportunities.
Poor old Lockie Weir's had a torrid time tonight. His support defensively has been intermittent, I would say, from Isgrove. He was playing more of a free role.
Yeah, I don't think that's really helped St Albans. It's really isolated Weir and it's isolated Mills, and they've really struggled to deal with it. And against this Preston attacker, I think St Albans might look back on it and maybe with a little bit of regret. We'll see how this contest plays out, but so far it's really done the damage for them.
Suto so nearly opened his Preston account last week, forcing a great save from the Oakley goalkeeper in the second half. It's really the only work Tom Manus had to do, aside from plucking the ball out of his net. Weir was sliding in. Markovski stayed onside here. It's Jonas Markovski to bury it into the bottom corner and make it 3-0 for Preston, just as he did at Churchill Reserve last year. Markovski is off the mark in 2026, and the lid is off at Jenna Steele Stadium.
Yeah, Markovski in behind there, got his head up, saw that the cutback wasn't on, and what a professional finish to put that in the bottom corner. It's one thing you can't take away from Jonas is when you put him in those situations, he'll find the back of the net.
It's almost the same goal he scored last year against Dynamo, albeit away from home. A drilled shot across the goalkeeper, no chance for Marko Boric. And St Albans Dynamo have been well and truly second best tonight.
Those attacking subs have paid off for Zoran Markovski here. His team's looking to put St Albans to the sword tonight.
Tell you what, they scored that goal with 10 players on the pitch. Michailidis had not re-entered the play, I believe.
Yeah, it seemed like he was off for a little bit of a while there, and they've managed to put the ball in the back of the net with 10.
Like in hockey, ice hockey, when they score a short-handed goal. This is a good move from Dynamo, though. This is Manny Peters. Peters stopping on a dime. And Preston draw a free kick.
Lively from Manny Peters, but you feel St Albans at some point they're just going to have to kick into damage control mode. You don't want this to blow out and then it starts to affect your goal difference, and that will hurt you later in the year.
Affects the confidence as well, early doors. If the scoreline starts to rack up. I felt at 2-0, Dynamo were almost still in the game. One counter-attack, they could have been back within a shout, but now it's gone 3 and it seems unlikely. The Cam Watson's side. Suto's full of energy. It's the return from Brooks. Leighton Brooks to cross. It's a good delivery too. Markovski got his head to the ball. Straight at Bulich. And now Cuba fancies it from range. Well, the goalkeeper was off his line. And Cuba's shot was offline.
Yeah, the problem for St Albans is they're pushing forward to try and get back into this game, but they're doing it in a really uncontrolled way. So the game has just completely opened up, and Preston, with all this attacking talent on the park, they're just going to have a field day.
It's a shooting gallery for Preston at the moment. Mills. Isgrove.
That was the exact pass they needed to be playing into Mikael Platt earlier on in the game.
Negro has his heels clipped. And Matt Bozanovsky and John Albano have just completed a warm-up. Remains to be seen whether they'll be called upon.
I just feel like at some point over the last couple of years, one of this Preston frontline has been lighting up the league for another club, and it's quite impressive that they're able to almost change the front four totally with players that are almost like for like in quality.
Sasha Ognanovsky giving Matt Boz a few words of wisdom. No better mentor if you're a centre half.
Yeah, I think it'll be something to the tune of no goals.
Lovely touch from Cuba. Escapes the pressure and sends it in behind for Zinni. Plenty to aim for in the box for Zinni. Gets a second bite at this. Zinni Brooks. Oh, it should have been 4. Goal at his mercy, Leighton Brooks.
He's done so well tonight. A goal would have really topped it off. Stefan Zinni, how many times have we seen that where he cuts that ball back onto his left foot and he dinks it to the back post, and it should have been another goal for Preston.
Well, Cam Watson's seen enough. Alec Mills is going to be withdrawn for Ajak Deu.
Obviously, Ajak Deu finding his feet now at St Albans after that really tough injury, that run that he had at Oakley Cannons.
He's a player with a lot of promise. And it's going to be Dom Foligno who comes off for Matt Bozanovsky. Fourth official Daniel Woodjack getting the electronic scoreboard lined up, and Leighton Brooks with that missed chance will take his leave. But a superb performance again this week from Brooks.
Yeah, he's been fantastic the whole game. Most of Preston's chances have come from him down the right-hand side. He's had a field day getting that ball into the box. Really superb performance, and looks like Zinni will come onto the right here now, and Albano will go onto that left side that he likes so much.
Daniel turns it over straight away. Suto, Mihalidi stretching. Preston are having fun out there. Galevsky somehow keeps it and wins the free.
I think those substitutions kind of achieved what you wanted for St Albans in terms of being able to keep the ball, but it didn't really solve the problems that they had, which were really in those fullback positions, which is where they've really struggled all night.
Grow stopping Monek in his tracks. Peters trying to shake Jamal Ali loose. Emmanuel Peters still. Great footwork from him, but can't find a teammate. Lockie Weir, awkward bounce for him. Markowski hooked it over his own head. Lockie Weir's in a bit of trouble.
He just came down heavily there.
It's going to require treatment from the sounds of things.
Seems like his foot just kind of got stuck in the turf and he's kind of just kneed the ground quite hardly.
And it was a really awkward bounce for him to deal with. Well, he can't be replaced. Dinamo have used all their changes, so if he's not able to continue, they'll be down to 10.
Yeah, that will be challenging still with 10 minutes, and you'd probably imagine there's going to be another 5 have added, so 15 minutes with 10 men would not be ideal when you're 3-0 down.
Negro sprinting off to the bench for one reason or another.
A little bit of pickle juice being handed over. I think they're going to share it.
Very chivalrous from Stefan Negro. Allowing Michaelides to have the first dose. It's a pretty balmy evening for the players. Lovely for the spectators, though, if you can keep the midges out of your eyes.
Yeah, the heat hung around all day, didn't it, really? It was still 31 degrees, I think, at kickoff, so it would have been a little bit zapping in that first half, and you'll probably start to see the effects of it later on in these last 10 minutes. Although both teams have emptied the bench.
Cholina. Deo. I remember seeing Jack Deo in his Western United days. Put on a show here at BT Connor. Almost scored one of the goals of the season from about 30 metres, striking the base of the post.
It would have been in Western United's promotion hunting season.
I believe it was. They were defeated that day. Jack Deo certainly enhanced his reputation on the night. As did a certain Nick Milanovic. He's gone on to bigger and better things, of course. Now Michaelides. Looks like the pickle juice didn't do the trick. Leban unleashes a wild strike.
And he's gone down there. It doesn't look like the pickle juice has worked at all. The cramps kicked in, and he's put in a big shift for Preston tonight.
Well, Preston have emptied their bench as well, so maybe they'll be the team going down to 10.
It's usually something you want to be practicing on the training ground, not in-game, but just as is the case sometimes, is you empty the bench searching for goals and the player drops with cramp.
Physio's out. Not sure what she's going to do. They've already played the trump card.
Looking to the bench, I'm not too sure he realises that there's no more subs to be made.
Mine. Fancy playing central midfield.
Looks like Preston will just play without a striker for now. Markowski will drop in.
Ali. He's shifted out to right back with Bosnowski moving to the centre of defence, of course. Markowski keeps his feet. Stabbed in the direction of Suto. Deo did well to deflect it with his knee.
Surely Preston can't do the unthinkable and score 2 goals with 10 men tonight.
Well, it was Michaelides who was off last time. I'm not sure he wants him to score while he's off again. Otherwise, a coincidence becomes a pattern. He has been good this evening, though.
No rush to come back on. I think they're going to try and find him some more pickle juice.
Got Nijelka pickled.
It's a bit of a flex playing with 10 when you're 3-0 up, isn't it?
Dynamo might smell a half a chance to get back into this. Even against 10, it seems unlikely. Markowski, great touch around Deo.
I think that's probably what St Albans were lacking earlier in the game with that centre-back change, was Deo gives them that speed in behind to protect those balls that are getting played down that right-hand side, whereas Alex Mills was probably struggling with that a little bit.
Deo's recovery pace can be a bit of a safety blanket, for especially when you're playing against such a team with such pace and on such a long deck. Golevsky. Cuba. Well, one player got the ball, at least. And his Izzers saw nothing wrong with it. Whipped in by Grove and Hayden Bryce with the flying Robin Van Persie style header behind.
Looks like just a bit of a collision in the middle there, and then St Albans get a chance out of it, and a rare corner.
Sion Cube is still in deep discussions with the referee.
I don't think we've seen any yellow cards tonight at all.
Not a single booking. Not that it's been entirely even-tempered. Leban's corner. Bryce with the spare man attacking it. Suto couldn't quite squeeze it through to Zinni. Grove will go again. Cholina caught in possession. Bryce. Difficult one for Markovsky. Now here goes Grove. Can't find a teammate. It's a second look at this from the ineffectual clearance from Ali. Weir whipped it in. Fall for a Dynamo player. Another chance for Lockie Weir to cross. Peters skimming header. Couldn't deflect it goalwards.
You've got to give credit to the Preston backline. This desperation to not concede a shot on target's quite admirable at 3-0 up.
Albano keeps it alive for Zinni. Stefan Zinni drilled it into the side netting. Well, George Mihalidis is back out there, but he doesn't look like he's going to be doing too many high-intensity sprints.
He's dropped back into the midfield, though. I don't think that's going to help him too much.
Just try and block a passing lane, maybe. Here's Grove with space to work in. The cover comes in the form of Cuba. Here's Grove to cross. Bozanovsky, not the most convincing clearance, but it doesn't matter for Preston. Ali finding Albano. Ali. Back to Jean Albano. Whips it in behind for Zinni, and the flag is up.
Gathering from the reactions from the bench, that looked quite tight.
They're looking back at the replay on the laptop, which has become a feature of NPL sidelines in the last year or two.
It's the old live stream. It's quite handy on the bench.
Yeah. Unofficial VAR.
I think we would have seen a VAR card played there if this was the Australian Championship.
Hate to correct you, Matt, but it's an FVS card.
An FVS card.
Football Video Support, which is one of the less catchy acronyms that we have. Stefan Zinni around the outside. Zinni straight to Bulich. You can already see that Stefan Zinni is going to hurt teams as an impact substitute this season.
Those impact subs really defined the championship seasons for Avondale. You know, Liston Diaz, Stefan Zinni coming off the bench late to kill teams off. I think that's crucial for Preston in their recruitment, and I think they've done well to make sure that they pick up those players.
It's a deep squad for Zoran Markovsky this season. Still has the likes of Jake Tchaikovsky, Luke Francis, Luke Jego to come back, Oli Kubalay, Emil Payos. And that's the 90 minutes up and 3 minutes on the board. It's an awful header from Ali. It's been otherwise pretty good tonight. Galevsky, Monek onto his favoured left. Cuts it back to Isgrove, and that's just about summing up all of St Albans' shooting efforts tonight. 7 shots, none of them on target.
Yeah, not a statistic they're going to want to hear back too many times.
A lot of them have been pot shots from range as well. Markowski ran out of room. Well, after seeing them put on a rather more state of play here, as a careless turnover is seized upon by Albano. And a combination of Dayu and Aaron Anderson steps in the way of the shots. I was about to ask you, Matt, after seeing a more confident display from Preston tonight, where do you rank them, given that they are coming into the season with a 6-point deduction among the contenders this year?
Well, they've dealt with the points deduction in the first 2 rounds, which was really crucial. I don't think too many people would have tipped them to beat Oakley, so they halved the deficit there. They get the points tonight. They now start on 0. I still think this is a team that's going to push for the Premier's Plate, and I think whoever wins the Premier's Plate is going to have to go through Preston Lions.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Sky's the limit for Zoran Markowski's team if they can get this new group of players knitted together. They'll face tougher tests than St Albans at home this season, but they've made light work of Dynamo tonight. Bryce, a raking ball over the top. Markowski is onside, and he plays in Stefan Zinni to put the cherry on the cake. But Marko Bulic, sprawling down to his right, makes a terrific save.
Yeah, great save from Bulic to ensure that this doesn't get any out of hand, and he's absolutely berated the 5 St Albans players that were standing on halfway watching that shot happen. These are the types of games and moments where you don't want to look back on the year and get the calculator out and start working out goal difference and think, geez, you know, a 4-5-0 defeat to Preston didn't really help us.
Preston's 8th corner by my count. Cuba to hang it in. Bozanovski was in there. It's met on the half volley by Michaelides. Never really sat nicely for him. And that's full time. And Preston start their season with a perfect record. The win away to Oakley last week was so dramatic. And win at home to Dynamo this week was at a canter. St Albans with plenty to reflect on after tonight's poor defensive display. But Preston were on song. Goals from 3 different players. Zach Cianci in the first half. Jonas Markowski and Sian Cuba in the second. And they have put their stamp on this competition with a win like that.
Yeah, very professional performance from Preston to get another win here tonight. Another 3 goals. That's 6 goals in total now for them to start the season. For St Albans, they'll be a little bit disappointed. It looks like another slow start to the year for them. They've got a few things to work out as they continue to try and make this push and this next step towards finals football. But Preston Lions flex their muscles tonight, and a really great attacking display.
Very entertaining football on display from Zoran Markowski's men. The final score at Genesteel Stadium in Friday night football is Preston Lions 3, St Albans Dynamo 0.